Hey, Monday morning futurist Jim Carroll here. I've been doing this thing every Monday. I talk about the inspiration that I put out there the previous week. It's my little inspirational recap, and I'm doing this because I just have a lot of fun in the studio. I got a new mic, and I'm really loving the sound. So new camera, new mic, new stage set, and covering the stuff that I've been talking about. Oh, that's last week's picture where it was my son's birthday. Let's try and get back to where we are. Well, I didn't set that up quite right. So what we're dealing with here is total failure. Let's try and do this again. That was supposed to be a different screen. That was supposed to show you last week's quotes, but here's what this is all about. Every Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, the very first thing I do is I put out some sort of inspirational, motivational, future-oriented quote. This has become my thing. I've been doing this since August 2016. They cover the trends that I'm seeing with my clients. They're covering disruptive ideas. They're covering personal little motivational things. I put them out on my blog, and then they go to LinkedIn, they go to Twitter, they go to Facebook, they go to Substack, they go to Instagram, and I think they might go somewhere else. Anyways, a whole bunch of people are signing up for them on my mailing list. You can take part by joining me at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. There's a simple little mailing list there you can join. You get a simple little email every day, no spam, nothing else, which just might give you a little kick every day to do some things that you think you need to be doing. What I've been doing with these Monday little shows is I've been talking about, what led to the story behind each of these. So let's start with last Monday, Future Shocked. What I wrote was, it doesn't take a genius to understand the future. It takes a fool to try to ignore it. And this was based on a conversation with one client where they were indicating that in their organization, there was a belief that they would not face the big, bold challenges that a lot of other competitors in the industry were seeing. You can't ignore the future. This is a play on a phrase, Future Shock, which was a book by one of the very first renowned futurists, Alvin Toffler, with his book Future Shock, which really put in perspective the reality of where we are today. And that is that the future is coming at us with such a speed, intensity. We're living in the era of acceleration that people are going to be just absolutely shocked by what is going on. And he really nailed the reality of what we're dealing with here. When he died, a news media organization called me and they wanted my reaction on his thoughts, his legacy. I had a golf game underway, and so what I had them do was they actually showed up on my golf course and got some B-roll footage of me out on the sixth hole, and then interviewed me. And what I really put in perspective is that he provided insight as to the role that a futurist could play, and really got people thinking about what they need to do to align to a future. And I talk about this a lot. I've long said there's three types of people. There's those that watch the future happen. There's those that make the future happen. And then there's those who kind of go, whoa, how did that happen? I didn't see that coming. You don't want to be that type of person. You want to be the second type of person. You want to be aware of the trends. You want to have a plan. So that was Monday. Tuesday rolls around. Totally different angle. Much of what you know already is already obsolete. You just don't know it yet. And this was a play on the acceleration of knowledge. This is a play on the fact that we are now living in an era of the rapid emergence of new knowledge, the disappearance of existing knowledge, which is leading to the rapid emergence of new careers, the rapid disappearance of existing careers, an entire focus on what I call just-in-time knowledge. And I'll give you one example, which I wrote into this blog post. Pre-COVID, the volume of medical knowledge was doubling every 6 to 8 years. It's now doubling every 78 days. And that's because we're seeing an acceleration of new methodologies, new forms of science, new forms of diagnosis, new medical technologies, device connectivity. Medical professionals can barely keep up with the explosion of medical knowledge. And that's why one of my favorite phrases when it comes to knowledge and careers and skills is that learning is what most adults will do for a living in the 21st century. Wednesday rolls around. Well, technology in the future. And here's what I wrote. You add together technology in the future, and together they have an amazing ability to enlighten and enrage us at the same time. And I wrote this about a little, visit I had with my neighbor through the last week. We moved to a new home, wonderful new neighbors. And the fellow is struggling with his Macintosh. It's giving him error messages. It's forcing him to sign in again. It's doing stupid things. There's software upgrades. And he's frustrated. And I can understand that people are frustrated. I wrote an entire book about this in 1997. I actually ended up doing an entire show last week around this quote and around the frustration that people have. And I included a lot of clips from a speech I did in 2013, which was based on my book, Surviving the Information Age, which covered to a large degree everything that went wrong with technology when boomers first encountered technology. I'd encourage you to watch it. It's on my blog, blog.jimcarroll.com. You'll find a lot of really fun, fascinating clips, including this little clip, which is something that went around the internet in the 1990s. We don't know if it's real or if it was staged, but a guy who just totally lost it in frustration with his computer. I'm going to play you this clip because this is really worthwhile watching. That could be any one of us at any moment in time. I mean, we get incredibly frustrated by this stuff, and that's what my Quote Wednesday was all about. Thursday rolls around, the secret to your future, and I had it pointing down an arrow, tiny little arrow in small words, and it's showing up. A lot of people, they're aware of what's happening. They know they've got to prepare for the future. They know they've got to innovate, change, and adapt, but they never show up. I actually wrote this based upon a post I saw in a Facebook group I belong to. This is a group for the Ecamm Live software, which is what I'm using here to do these live broadcasts. And there was a wonderful little story from one lady who was new to the software. She really had no idea what she was doing, but she showed up. She simply went live with her first broadcast, and a whole bunch of things went wrong, but she learned from it. And I just thought this is what it is all about when it comes to innovation, change, and creativity. Showing up. That's the secret to the future. If you don't show up, you're never going to get there. Day 5 rolls around, and what I wrote that day was, it's better to spend time creating, the ideas that will lead to success rather than seeking excuses for the actions which will lead to your failure. And I wrote this all about the excuses that people in organizations make when it comes to the future. There's a long list. Think about what you hear in your organization. It wasn't my fault. I'm going to go through the list here. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry it didn't work out. I'm sorry for what happened. I never had enough time. Nobody gave me a proper budget. I expected so much more. I never had proper support. I mean, I'm reading off this list here. I was lacking in cooperation. It wasn't the right time. You are surrounded by people who make excuses for their failure, and that's all they do. They spend more time making up excuses than they do on trying to move to the next steps of success. So what I wrote in this blog post was what successful people do instead. They use phrases like this. Here's where we think we're going to go. I think it's going to be great. I've got a wonderful idea. Listen to this great idea. Think about what we could accomplish. This is going to be fantastic. Think of the implications, but wait, there's even more. This is what successful people do. They don't whine. They don't complain. They don't focus on their excuses. They focus on what they need to do next. So that's what I covered off last week. You can learn more at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. There's a fun little blog post behind every single one of these. I'd encourage you to sign up to the mailing list. Simple little email that comes out about 5:30, 6 a.m. Every day. And you might find a little bit of personal motivation and inspiration in there. That's it for now. Futurist Jim Carroll from the Virtual Broadcast Studio.